not every couple is into it, but we love it.
What do I need to be a yes to this exchange? Encapsulates for me.
Yeah, just give me tingles in my body.
So thank you, but I don't think I want to engage with you anymore. Let's make sure that you remain in
Mild
a state
only.
of tasty.
Yeah. I need all my sensory functions operating
Can't be
optimally.
inhibited.
No.
Yeah. If you had to pick one, what would it be?
One what?
One sense.
I feel like instinct is like sound.
Oof.
I pick sound.
Okay.
Because I love music so much. So at least I could have music and I could still dance and move my body. If I just had visuals, I probably wouldn't be moved by life very much.
Really?
In the same way.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like if I look at the city, I'm like, oh, cool, it's a city. But if I have music playing when I'm in a city, it's a whole different experience.
Okay. Interesting.
And I thought, well, if I had touch, but I didn't have sound, that would be kind of strange for me.
Okay.
And I also like hearing because it's just communication. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for that challenging question.
This is what we do here.
Yeah,
We ask challenging questions.
What would yours be?
I feel like it would be touch. It's either touch or sight. I can't imagine not being able to enjoy the sensation of touch.
It would be hard. That was my second.
To touch and not get the feedback of it. Yeah. I think I'd find that difficult.
Yeah. It would be easier if you just grew up without it and you didn't know a life any different.
Sure.
But if something happened and then you lost your sense of touch, that would be so challenging.
Yeah.
Speaking of touch.
Speaking of.
It's one of my aftercare needs. I think we're going to talk about aftercare today.
We are talking about aftercare today. Yeah,
is this our final episode?
This is our final episode. I know.
Our relationship is over?
Yes, this is how I'm breaking it to you.
No, season 2 is coming.
Uh-huh.
Wink, wink, wink.
Wink,
It's
wink,
coming.
wink, wink, wink. That's blinking.
No, they were opposite. Blink, blink, blink. It's coming.
It's coming.
Aftercare.
Aftercare. The care afterwards.
Of the afters.
Yeah. Well,
the after hours.
What are we caring after?
What do I care after? That's where our disconnection comes from. What do I care about afterwards? And the importance of aftercare. Like, what is aftercare in relationship? Why we love aftercare.
Yes. And to be specific, we're talking about after sexual exchange.
Oh.
Like
just kidding, I knew that.
You just meant like after dinner.
I eat.
Yeah.
After I take a bath, there's care there. I'm a very needy person.
I've
so
noticed.
There's like aftercare in everything that I do.
I know. I'm here.
It's like we get off the phone. I'm like, my aftercare is you need to text me. I love you. Just in case I didn't hear you right afterwards.
Yeah. It's a very demanding relationship, but...
It's okay to have needs.
Yes, that's true.
And I have them, so...
No.
Aftercare, after...
Just for the record, you're not demanding.
I'm not demanding.
You're really not.
I'm very chill.
You are chill. I think I'm quite chill too.
You are chill.
Thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
And that being said, we do like aftercare after sexual exchange.
Yeah.
Because we see the value of it.
Yeah.
Which isn't being needy, it's just nice.
Yeah. I think too, Venus and Taurus, we're very affectionate. We love comfort. We love touch. So aftercare. I think even if we, for us and our energies, I think even if we hadn't presenced aftercare, we would naturally offer each other aftercare because of just how we, how our love works.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for that.
works very nicely. Yeah, and me too. I really value not just the presence of aftercare, but the conscious recognition that it's something that we value.
Yeah.
And this really started for us after our first exchange because we parted ways.
Yeah, you came to Mexico City and I was still in Tulum. Yeah.
Yes. And we discussed what aftercare would look like for us. This, for me, has come from something I picked up at ISTA, and I recognize the value of the exchange continuing, or the energetic continuing even after the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Even after, the act of lovemaking. Yeah. And for us, that was, okay, we're parting ways. How can we still be in appreciation of one another, even after we're not in the same space? And that looked like communication.
Yeah, we both expressed that. Communicating was very important. It didn't need to be all the time, but we wanted to tune in.
Yes.
And, this is like coming up for me in this moment, and I wonder where or how the situation might have been different if maybe we didn't want the same things. Or, clearly our aftercare was easy because we were both moving in the direction of, we're exploring is partnership and something that we want to explore. Or even just connection, actually.
Yeah.
But let's say it's a different circumstance where it wasn't in that direction.
Yes.
I could see how aftercare could benefit and also maybe be challenging for some of the parties.
Well, this is, for me, part of the benefit of consciously incorporating aftercare into the experience before the experience. So before engaging sexually, it's going, aftercare is something that I value, and it's something that I would like from this exchange. And so after we engage sexually, should we choose to, I would love for aftercare to look like this, this, and this. Is that something you feel capable of offering? And it becomes like a negotiation.
Yeah, because this is like that initial conversation. It's like, hey, we have an attraction.
Yes.
Let's sit here and open up the field of conversation.
Yeah.
What are your desires with me? What are your fears about this connection? What are your boundaries about this connection? And what aftercare I require.
Yeah, I require too.
Yeah, aftercare. And are you open to that? And that's great because it sets the tone and expectations for what the connection can, should, might look like.
And it allows the conscious opting into the experience. And there is a necessity for trust and honesty. If you require certain something from aftercare and you express that and I agree to it and I don't deliver on that, then I'm not in integrity.
And that's great feedback for me.
Right.
As the
person
who stated and was in agreement, it's like, interesting, okay. I could choose to call you forward in that moment. I could choose to move away because that doesn't align with my values.
Yeah.
Right? There's sovereignty there.
Okay, well, I entrusted you to engage in this dynamic and I set this desire for aftercare and then that wasn't met, so thank you, but I don't think I want to engage with you anymore. And I think that's a really nice thing to bring to the table before the exchange, because for me it just lets me know, okay, do I want to engage with this person or not? This is something that I require or something that I would like. And if that person feels that they can't deliver that, then I get to consciously choose whether or not it's something I can compromise on.
Yeah. And that's great because it just brings in a deeper reflective conversation of self. Like, I'm noticing that, I'm actually not getting the aftercare that I would like to. Is that something I'm willing to compromise on, or is it a deal breaker?
Yeah. And that can look like what it was for us with, I would love us to continue communicating afterwards, text, and video phone calls as well.
Yeah.
But that can also be, okay, after our experience, I would love for us to cuddle for a while. I would love for us to spend the night together. I would love to stay, it might be, actually, I'd like to leave, and the other person would like to set a boundary of, okay, leaving is fine, but maybe half an hour's worth of continued connection until you leave.
Mm-hmm.
So if that person wants to mitigate against feeling, I don't know, undervalued. If you engage sexually and then someone just leaves straight away, I can imagine that's not a nice feeling.
Yeah, it just gives space to, again, honor our needs in the moment and what makes us feel good about the exchange.
Yeah.
And in integrity and alignment with ourselves.
What do I need to be a yes to this exchange?
Yeah, and I love that setting the tone from the very beginning is really the gateway to receiving that. You know, it really clears out a lot of this noise or energy that comes from uncertainty, where when we show up in connections, like, hey, this is what I desire from you, and this is what's coming up for me around that, and this is the capacity of what I have to explore right now, and afterwards, it would feel really good for me if we engaged in this for a little bit. And yeah, I love it because it gives, like you, for instance, sovereignty to say, yes, I can meet you in that, or no, I can't, or actually I booked plans right after this.
Right.
And then I can tune into that for myself and go, okay, interesting. Maybe that might shift how I choose to show up in the container. Totally legit and totally all right. And these conversations just continue to support sovereignty, right?
Yeah, would you say it creates safety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when they're honored. There's a disarming that comes, from that experience of we connected, okay, we stayed at our aftercare, we had our immediate aftercare, and then you left, right? You left to go travel. And so in like the next 24 hours, having you contact me was like, oh, it was disarming. And it just showed me that you valued what I had to share and were in integrity with what you agreed upon. Yeah, I love that. Just making sure my mic was okay. Yeah, I loved that. I thought that was great, and of course it worked really well because our aftercares are quite similar.
Yes.
Communication is important to us. Creating space for that was important to us, and
touch, embrace.
Touch, yeah. Like, what would you say your aftercare needs are? And every situation kind of changes depending on what we're playing with.
Sure, yeah. So there's something that I really enjoy, which is like back scratches.
You do like those.
Yeah, light back scratches after sex is just like heaven for me. And it's something I love receiving and having, I guess, honored as a desire. Because I've been in a relationship before where I've expressed that this is something that I enjoy and that I would love to receive, and I was met with like this for like a minute or two, and then they got bored. And it's like, okay, well, I don't feel valued. For me, the sexual exchange is I'm giving myself to you in this exchange, and I don't know, maybe part of it is like a reciprocity of, can I receive this in return? It's like part of the exchange.
Yeah, it's still a part of the experience even.
Right. Yeah. Especially as someone who is a giver and likes to create pleasure for the person that I'm with. For me, the orgasm is great, and the sense of appreciation and aftercare is something that I really value. And so getting to receive that, or when I don't receive it, I'm aware of how that affects me, and how, yeah, I don't feel seen or valued or appreciated in a way that my nervous system or my ego wants. So it's nice to know that and to express that and to receive that.
I love that. So back scratches for you, it's not even really about the back scratches. It's just about the appreciation that you feel in return.
I'd say, I mean, I love the sensation.
Of course.
Yeah, it feels great. It feels very relaxing. Just feels like I'm drifting off into bliss. Because I'm in that afterglow.
Yeah.
And getting to...
all that shine.
Yeah, and getting to sit in that and enjoy the sensation of that. So it is about sensation, but it's also about, okay, this person values me enough to honor that desire. And that feels nice.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I love cuddles. I'm a cuddler, so I definitely love, like, I think especially being in a feminine experience in the female body, there's like an ejection that happens, obviously. So when you're in the sexual experience, you know, you're being penetrated, and then at some point that experience ends and you leave the body. And I feel that. I feel the energetic of that. I feel the disconnection that happens in that moment. And even if I'm in a state of bliss or post-orgasm, I still feel the energetic shift of that. And so for me, dropping into a cuddle space afterwards feels really nice. Because I'm still in this embrace and we're still in the experience, even though you've left my body, and you've left my body. So it's not like you just left.
Right.
And just like gone and done something else.
Yes.
And gone about your day. We have that moment to like come down together. And that's really what the aftercare experience is, the come down.
Yes.
And okay, letting all of that erotic energy just like still be alive in our bodies, and then slowly letting it dissipate. And yeah, creating space. So in the cuddles, clearly there's touch. Naturally, I just touch anyways. Like, I'm always just kind of stroking and touching and breathing. And also, I feel like in the expansion of what my original inherent needs for aftercare would have been, we've kind of expanded upon that into what is essentially the Afterglow, which is on our radio show.
Yeah.
And it's where we communicate and we like...
Yeah.
process, quote unquote, the experience.
Yeah.
And not that we're like diving into it like a play-by-play game.
I really loved at minute 3 when you did this.
It's more, it just creates space for us to share maybe deeper revelations about the experiences that we had that maybe aren't communicated in the moment.
Yeah.
But are felt.
Yes.
And I love that about our afterglows, our aftercares.
Yeah, I love that too, and I love that word of afterglow and what it encapsulates for me.
Yeah, it's just giving me tingles in my body.
It's embracing and residing in that post-orgasmic or post-sexual exchange, energetic, that vibrancy that's still there as the energy begins to subside, and you're basking in that yumminess as
together.
Right, yeah.
So cozy.
And part of that for me, like part of my aftercare in Afterglow is the verbal communication. Like I love the non-verbal communication of touch and cuddles and all of that, but getting the opportunity to converse and exchange and talk about what the experience was, because we're having an experience together, but it's also very individual. So no idea what's going on in your body.
Totally.
And do to a degree, but like only from an outside perspective, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so getting to kind of getting to put words to what I experience from the outside and get your internal perspective, I really value and really enjoy, and it feels like it deepens a connection between us. And the thing that I am equating it to at the moment is I see it as the integration.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that.
Yeah, if I
what just happened?
Yeah. Oh my God.
What just happened here?
What the hell was that?
I need to process. Sometimes it is like that.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm going to need a couple minutes to think about that and then get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, but yes, I've definitely experienced that from my end, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to kind of just express that out loud and let it be heard, as well as have my own private reflections. I get to share reflections, and for me, if I'm equating the power of sexual exchange or the divinity of sexual practice, then I'm equating it to like medicine journey, and the afterglow is the integration piece, or part of the integration piece. And I think to miss that would be remiss, would be missing something special. So for me, that's the importance of that space, that time.
And maybe not every couple is into it, but we love it. And we find that, it's another like core piece of what makes our experiences so special and continues to foster the deepening of our intimacy. Especially for me, because when we connect intimately, I feel like all of the inner work that we've done, as well as just how aligned with our core values and like the pillars that we are, there are rarely sexual experiences between us where I'm not having revelations. And it comes from my ability to feel so safe in our connection, to continue to open my body to new experiences, and just whatever comes through, honestly. And then knowing that even in the moment, if I needed to vocalize something, I could. And if I didn't, and we've shared examples of that before, maybe in the Sex.Prayers podcast or maybe in the Afterglow, I can't remember, where, I'm with the experience and I just want to be with it, and I internalize it, and then I bring it to the Afterglow. Is great, because then I'm still bringing it and I'm still owning it, and it creates space for me to not only continue to reflect on what that experience meant for me, but also potentially how I would like to continue to expand upon it, or the opposite, right, where I might not want to continue to expand in that direction. It gives space to all of those voices. And that's important for me too.
I really like that. It's like an opportunity to reflect on the experience and go, actually, this bit didn't work for me so well. We've
talked about all of it. It's like, how's your experience? Well, I didn't like that as much as I thought I was going to. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. It's great feedback.
Right, and I feel like if the relationship weren't as safe as it felt, that might be difficult to receive, because it might feel like an inadequacy, or I don't want to say an attack, but it could be received in such a way. It's like, oh, they didn't enjoy this. Oh, no, I'm not able to give them what they want. It's it's an opportunity to deepen the connection, because I'm being vulnerable with you and sharing what was right and what was miss, and now we can build on that.
Because to me, sex is such an exploration of our bodies, and so anytime something's not working for me, or I don't enjoy it, whether I thought I was going to or I knew I wasn't going to. Even the things that I don't enjoy, to me, don't ever take away from the experience, because there's so much to explore, and there's just so many ways that we can tweak and reposition and bring in new things and take away things, that it's still all about the exploration of pleasure, each other's bodies, and I mean the language that is our connection.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thank you for expressing that. It's nice to know that it's something of value to you. And part of the reason I feel like we value it so much is because there has been at least one instance where aftercare wasn't present.
Yeah.
And
I noticed it.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit to realize, like, what is up with me?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here?
Something's not right.
Yeah, and I noticed it because my mood was my indicator. That I was like, I was feeling edgy, and I was also feeling a bit sad, and I was like, what is happening here? And I went into my somatic body, and I kind of explored my inner landscape, like, okay, where's the sadness coming from? Like, you're kind of feeling on edge, like you're about to get an attitude, like, what is that really about? When I really sat with myself and broke it down, I was just like, oh, I didn't receive aftercare, and I felt like our experience ended so suddenly.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was my first indicator. I was like, okay, I need that little bit of time, even if it's just 5 minutes afterwards, to like connect and have that come down experience.
Yeah, because without it, there's a very immediate disconnect.
Yeah, it's like you're out, and it's like, oh, okay, like, whoa.
And I felt that too. Like, I recognized that there was something misaligned.
Yeah.
There was something missing. Something didn't feel right.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, I mean, even in that instance, if I'm remembering correctly, it was actually that, like, I was experiencing pain, actually. I was experiencing pain, and that's actually why we had to stop, is I was like, well, I really need to honor my body. This is not feeling right for me, and whatever it was. And I remember that's what actually caused the abrupt ending, was like, we couldn't continue. And yeah, I think in this kind of exchange where I was like, oh, I don't know what to do and whatever, we just kind of like separated. And then it was in those moments that I was like, wow. I think also because I was experiencing pain, that's actually where the grief was coming from, the sadness. It was like, dang, my womb is going through something, and I'm feeling how we separated, and I just like created this very visceral sensation that emerged, and I was like, okay, no matter the circumstance, I was like, I need to feel that connection, and that we're in our heart, and that we leave the instance in our heart. Not that we hadn't.
No, it was just very circumstantial.
Yeah.
But it was like, in hindsight, it was a really beautiful experience, because it indicated to me, and it sounds like to you, the importance of creating aftercare in an exchange. Even in regular dynamic. So for me, where aftercare was coming from was, oh, I'm about to engage with this person who I've not engaged with before, and I want to set up parameters to make me feel safe to engage with them. And there is this then progression of, okay, I'm in relationship with this person now. Aftercare is still something that is important and valued.
Yeah, we don't disregard it just because we're in a relationship.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think that was the light bulb moment.
Yeah, even though like we live together, you know, so we spend all our time together, and I'm still like, no, aftercare.
Yeah.
like, I will set you free in 5 minutes, you know. And it doesn't go away just because because we live together.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, I think it plays into both personality types of, like, fundamental trauma being abandonment and not being valued.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I love that.
And and the aftercare mitigating that. So by opting to engage in this aftercare space and dynamic, it removes someone feeling like they're being abandoned.
Yeah, totally.
And removes someone feeling like they're not being valued or appreciated. And I think that's a beautiful thing to include in the sexual exchange.
Yeah. For people that are looking to develop that more intimate moments, I can see how one night stands, this might not apply for some people. It really depends on, okay, well, what's my intention in this container?
Yeah.
What do I need? What do I want? But when it comes to actually like fostering depth of connection, aftercare, I would say that if like play is the foundation and we have these 4 pillars, like aftercare just sits on the top because it's the piece to me that then feeds into the rest of the development of our container. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, great. We process the experience to whatever degree we need to, right?
Yeah.
We're not over intellectualizing it and we're not doing the play-by-play, but we're in that space. If things come up, if we need to discuss them, we create space for that.
Yes.
And that, naturally, that would move us forward into however our relationship is going to continue to expand and grow, right?
Yeah. For me, this partly speaks into, and what you're saying in doing that, in getting to do that, it speaks into the sacredness of sexual exchange for me. It's going, look, this is something that I value in getting to experience sexual exchange, and this is how I take it seriously, and this is how I don't see it as just something that's easily thrown away, or it's given the gravitas that it deserves. That's part of that for me.
It really honors both parties.
Right.
In such a beautiful way. Aftercare is so special. Like, it's so sweet. And, granted, we haven't had an aftercare session where we've had to discuss things that were, like, not in alignment or anything like that.
Challenging.
They were challenging. Yeah, ours are all sweet. Even in the moments where we've expressed things that we're like not that into. They've never been like, there's just never been any negative energy there.
No.
And maybe that's just because we recognize that we're coming from that space of love, and honoring ourselves and each other. Yeah, aftercare is so special to me. And I love what we're doing with aftercare, where we're bringing it online through Sex.Prayers Radio and in the Afterglow. And I love our Afterglows. There's something, I love that you had that idea. It's like, wow, let's share our experience while we're in it. And while the energy is still live, we are literally still glowing from our ceremonies and our personal temple nights. And it's great to, it seems a bit mechanical to like, let me go grab our mics and we like set the whole thing up, but even then it's like we just drop back into aftercare space, into cuddle space, and we just talk. And it's like, you can tell in the tone of our voices and the ways in which we're communicating. It's like, because we're having these deeply connected experiences through whatever our temple nights reveal to us. Sometimes they're sexual, sometimes they're not. And it's still all afterglow at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's residing in that post-exchange energetic. Because, like, for me, the exchange is an act of creation. Whether it's, literally for creating life, it creates something, because it's the synergy of two separate energies coming together, and getting to sit in that that residue that's left once it's there, after it's been created, and enjoy that part of it.
Yeah.
To me, that's still part of the exchange.
Me too.
And that's why I wanted to have this conversation and include the topic of aftercare, because one, it's something that I value, but two, it's something that I recognize as still being part of the experience.
Yeah, and a lot of sexual situations can feel robbed of that, just without recognizing that maybe that's actually a need that a person has, and desire, and whether they've known aftercare exists or not, maybe now there's like, they have something to hold on to. It's like, interesting, I didn't recognize that maybe that's a space where we can continue to foster intimacy, because we were just operating out of like, well, we have a desire and we want to have this experience, and then not recognizing that there's so much value and juiciness in the come down also. Yeah. And I love that we broadcast ours. I mean, we've only done it like a couple times since we started the radio.
Yeah.
But even just, I don't know, we're so deeply connected to our love in those moments, and to the purity of our love in those moments, that for me it makes sense to broadcast it. It's like, of course I want to emit that frequency out into the world and into the airwaves. And we even had a woman join on one of our afterglows, and I remember she left a comment. She was like, I am so here for these conversations. She was like, clap emoji, clap emoji, clap emoji. You know? And it was just beautiful to be received in a space where, we're glowing, and we just had this beautiful experience that wasn't sexual that day.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And I just feel like what a beautiful entry point and gateway into the hearts of other people is by broadcasting that frequency. We could wait a day and we could go in and we could talk about it, but our energetics, the tone of voice, so different, right? So much has happened in that time. But when we're actually in that frequency, and that's what we're emanating out into the airwaves, I love that.
We should do it more often.
We should do it more often.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else you want to share about aftercare?
Is there anything else that you value as aftercare, or what that can look like? So you spoke of cuddles and touch, and communication.
Yeah, communication, cuddles. I mean, like, so I'll break it down in a timeline for me personally, where we've had an exchange, we're sharing intimate moments, sexual or non-sexual, right? Whether it's with a new partner or a consistent partner. And for me, it's like cuddles, right? Affection. Touch is one of my love languages. And so being in the energy of giving and receiving that feels just really great for me. It's very nurturing. Communication after the fact, regardless of what the experience is, for me is important. Just feeling that connection point is a piece that makes me feel valued. It makes me feel like the exchange is valued. If it's you have an exchange and then you're ghosted, I mean, everybody kind of knows what that feels like. It's like, oh, okay, like, is there just, did that mean nothing? You know, that's kind of like the thought that comes up with that. And so, I really value communication in that. And obviously, if the move for me is to continue fostering a connection with that person, then prolonged communication and a deepening of that's beyond the superficial, hey, how's your day? You know, if I want to create intimacy with you, or I feel like a relationship is on the table, then my nature personally is to start to explore depth. Like, what's the capacity of what this person has to offer me? Because I'm a very deep person, and it's only through communication or physical encounters that I can then start to see, like, can I be met where I'm looking to go in this relationship? And if there's not communication, then there's just no way for me. Or if there's not a desire or reciprocal desire to be met even in seeing each other again, then that becomes challenging. And at some point it's like, this isn't the relationship for me. And obviously that changes, like you leaving created a set of parameters. So I was like, okay, in order to feel honored in this exchange and to offer myself to this exchange, I'd like communication. And I wasn't specific about how much I needed or anything. I'm not that militant with it. I just wanted to feel your presence, ultimately, and that's what that's about for me. And at that time, we didn't know if you were coming back to Tulum or not. And so, I think this piece came up for me that's like, okay, like we'll communicate and just be open to seeing where this leads. This could fall off. This could foster. I had no idea. But it was through our communication that I then started to see. I think we both really started to see. It's like, okay, there's something here that we want to continue exploring. What does that look like? And had you not decided to come back to Tulum, right, and you just kept going on your journeys, then something that I would have wanted was like a reciprocity of, okay, when are we going to try to see each other again? If I didn't feel met in that, I was like, just challenge there.
You know what came through for me then is that this became what it is because of aftercare.
That's very true. That's very true.
That for me just is, wow, the power of aftercare.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, well, let me ask you this. Your desire to share with me your revelations from our experience, do you feel like those would have been just as strong and maybe you would have put yourself out there? Or do you feel like because we created Aftercare and we had established that communication was something that we wanted to engage in, that gave that permission?
100%. There's no way I would have shared it if I didn't feel like it was going to be received.
Yeah.
Or desired. Because it was so vulnerable.
Right.
It was so...
Yeah, so true.
It was so vulnerable.
So if we had just been like, okay, bye, see ya, like, have a great time in Mexico City, I mean, I can even feel the disruption of what that would have created.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had the impetus to share that. Or I wouldn't have felt like it was desired from your end. But because I knew that communication was valued by you and prolonged connection or continued connection was of value. It's like, okay, well, maybe I can... I actually asked. I said, I've been reflecting and I've written this stuff. Would you like to read it? Like, can I send it to you?
Yeah.
And you were open to that. And
I was like, yeah, I want to know what you thought about everything that just happened. And I was nervous. I mean, I didn't know what you were going to say. To some degree, it was like, even having a great experience, there's always those like little infractions. It's like, interesting. He wants to share his innermost thoughts and feelings and reflections about the connection that we just experienced. And I could feel how even receiving it was like a little edgy for me, but I wanted it. I desired that because to me, that was an offering of depth and vulnerability.
Thank you. And it was edgy because you didn't know what it was...
I didn't know what you were going to say.
Right.
I could assume it was blissed out.
Yeah.
Just like preaching my existence or something. And also, yeah, maybe there were some other reflections in there or comparisons in there. Like, I had no idea what I was going to get.
And to clarify, my reflections were internally focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. And that was special. I mean, yeah, those opened the doorway. So, yeah, like what you're saying is true. Like, Aftercare really opened the doorway for us to continue to deepen our intimacy and explore what our connection was about. And
eventually came to this.
Yeah.
Like, without that, I don't think that would have happened. Would have gone our separate ways, and maybe a text here and there, maybe a like on Instagram or whatever, but not the emotional depth that was created through the permission of Aftercare after we'd parted ways.
Yeah. And it brought you back. to me.
It did. Yeah.
It brought you back to me. Those conversations that we had, were a key piece of that.
Yeah, because in those conversations, I recognized that I was being met. I was communicating with an equal. It's like, okay, this person not only can receive this, but can give it back in equal measure, and then some. So yeah, power of aftercare.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your willingness to engage in aftercare.
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, I think back to my past relationships where, I just didn't even realize that was a thing, and I'm grateful for Ista for that. It's like bringing in even the RBDSM conversations, like, that changed my life. And, because I remember just being younger, or even just pre-Ista, though I'd tackled some of them pre-Ista before, where, you meet somebody and there's chemistry, and then nobody really knows what's going on unless somebody's being direct about their attraction and their desires. And in my experiences in dating, it was always this like cat and mouse, like, I should wait to text, or what do you think this text means, and all this other BS. And seeing how RBDSM and aftercare being a part of the RBDSM conversation was like, oh wow, like I get to state that. And not only do I get to state it, but I get to ask for that. Like, wow, how much does that support my nervous system and also my desire, potentially, to connect with this person. Like, interesting. I get to state that, hey, I would like to receive a text. Or like, hey, when I see you in town, I would like you to say hi. Or give me a hug, depending on the level at which we exchange, and not feel like I'm just some stranger, or that I'm just something that happened on a Tuesday night. Right? And
it's very specific.
Who remembers what happens on Tuesdays? It just, again, these are just like more tools, right? Like more tools in the emotional, relational toolkit to say, wow.
Sure. Because if you are attuned energetically when you're having that conversation and you're met with a response that perhaps isn't a genuine full-on yes, you can tell. Like, if you go,
I agree with that.
I would love to receive a text tomorrow, and when I see you next, to like have a proper embrace, and that person goes, yeah. If you're attuned, you know that's not a yes. And it gives the opportunity to gather more information to help make a decision.
Yeah, and see like what feels good. And also, when you notice that the person has agreed to it and then you don't receive it, that's feedback into this person. And obviously it's not necessarily a space of like, I asked for this and you didn't give it to me, so I'm gonna blow you off. There also can be compassion there, like maybe that person really was busy and whatever, but you can definitely tell, and you can definitely tell after repeated negligence that maybe that person's just not the right fit, because they're not meeting those needs.
I see it as a practice of an empowerment of sovereignty. And I think that that's a beautiful quality to respect and bring into relationship. So
all of these pillars and pieces, it's just like, even as we've recorded these episodes, it just continues to affirm and deepen my understanding and my belief that these are the things that really truly do support healthy relationship dialogue. Even if it wasn't an intimate sexual relationship, even if we were just talking in friendships, right? There's still so much value in everything that we've had to share, even if we take sex off the table. And how transformative some of these simple conversations can be, how illuminating these conversations can be, especially when like RBDSM and aftercare, where it's like you stay where you're at and where your partner's at and what your desires are and what your relationship status is and how you relate. It's just like, oh, okay, great. I thought I was attracted to you, but you're polyamorous and I'm monogamous. Like, I don't even need to offer myself to that situation if it's out of alignment. Yeah. It just creates so much clarity. And that, for me, is where we are able to find our sovereignty, is in that clarity. When everything's kind of mucky and murky and nobody really knows what's going on, it's easy to cross boundaries because you're not quite sure. It could be anything. Yeah. And our minds would love to, I feel like, when we're in this chemistry-ridden space, is just like assume the best. And we see how that can also burn us. And so having these conversations and embodying these pillars and bringing these pillars into the dialogue, it's a healthy conversation between two or more people that supports the values and heart space of each other.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel complete.
Thank you. I feel complete with that too.
Amazing.
Post-podcast aftercare.
Yes, please.